Once upon a time on this show, we had essentially 0 listeners. And after that opening, it might go back down to 0. But then, most people listening now are big Green Bay Packers fans, and we've hit the NFC North market pretty well lately. But a lot of people forget that there is another secret little group, secret team to the Paul Farrington Show cast, and that would be the Houston Texans. And in many ways, I actually feel bad that we haven't talked about Houston as much because their fan base was a great part of our show's success when we were initially coming up in the beginning. And CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson too in the Colts. The AFC South really helped us out as we were growing. But I've always felt a little bit of a connection with us and the Texans, given the rise in our popularity with them as CJ Stroud was playing really well in 2023. So I actually want to focus on them to open the show today. And a big story, one that thankfully has been kind of squashed, was CJ had throwing a shoulder issue in his right shoulder. And apparently it was because he was working out and he aggravated one of his muscles. And people were concerned whether or not he was actually hiding a deeper injury. Now, luckily, it appears there was no surgery necessary and he was throwing at minicamp. So everyone's like, okay, everything's good. Now we can analyze the Texans a little deeper here. And I think CJ Stroud is one of those guys we've continuously talked about who's under pressure next year and who has something to prove. And we've mentioned Jordan Love a gazillion times. We've mentioned the rookies and the second-year players. Aaron Rodgers we talked about in the last episode. But CJ Stroud has to be in that conversation. Felt like last year he lost a bit of that shine where Jaden Daniels sort of took over his spot, right? CJ Stroud was the rookie that came in, had the greatest rookie season of all time. It was weird to see within 1 year, Jaden Daniels basically took that all away from him. And we were talking about Stroud as this potential top 5 quarterback in the league joining the Big Four. Is the Big Four been coined yet? I feel like that's kind of, we all know the top 4 quarterbacks in the league.
The Big Four?
Right, yeah. Burrow, Lamar, Mahomes, and Allen.
I mean, Hurts is right up there.
Yeah, stop it.
I'm serious.
Hurts is the number 5 for sure.
Yeah, there's no Big Four.
No, Hurts is not the 5.
There's a Big 4.
There's a Big 4. Hurts would not. Well, anyways, here's the thing. That 5 spot is open. And a lot of people thought after 2023 that CJ Stroud would take that spot.
I take Goff over Burrow.
Right now, I think Jaden Daniels is the one that most people would pick in that number 5 spot. That's what I believe.
None of it hurts.
But if you go back and look at Stroud, just the numbers from 2023 to 2024, down in completion percentage, down in passing yards. He was 8th in the league in 2023, down to 15th. Touchdowns from 23 to 20, 15th in the league this year. Interceptions went up from 5 to 12, sacked 38 times, up to 52 times. Now that's a whole other story with the offensive line issues. And his quarterback rating was down from 100.8 to 87. So, we see basically in every category, CJ Stroud was a worse quarterback last year. And Texans fans, you might be quick to point out, yes, the offensive line was horrible. They've tried, sort of have made some upgrades this offseason. You lose Laramie Tunsil, you're bringing in guys where, we'll see how Cam Robinson does. We'll see how Laken Tomlinson does. I mean, these guys did not have particularly good seasons last year. But I'm looking at CJ Stroud as this is a bounce back candidate. And the Houston defense is they're ready to go. That's going to be one of the best defenses in football next year. Passing defense, maybe the best in the league. Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., probably the best pass rushing duo in all of football. Those guys are going to give the Titans a certain floor that they will not fall behind, especially in the AFC South.
The Texans.
Sorry, did I say Titans? The Texans. So to me, this is a point now with CJ Stroud. We're going to find out if he's just a very good quarterback who can win the division multiple times and never win in the divisional round. Or this year, we're going to see, can he actually be a quarterback that could win a Super Bowl? Can he become that 5th best quarterback in the league in that discussion? And I think it's all on his shoulders in Houston. And Jack, I know when we sat down to record, you said the Texans are overrated. Or the Texans stink. I can't remember what the word you said was.
I said the Texans stink. But I was kidding.
No, I know. But a lot of people are talking smoke about the Jaguars coming up. We've done it a few times on this show. Some people think the Colts will be a little bit better. The Texans are winning this division. The question for the Texans is, can they take the jump to Super Bowl contender, to me? And it's all on CJ Stroud. It is firmly on him because the rest of the team is ready to go.
Yeah, well, CJ Stroud last year, and we all touched on this when we were coming into last season. When you have a good rookie year, there is often times that big red X on your back the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is that target. It's not automatic that, he has a great rookie year. He's just going to come back now next August and September and pick up and be a beast again. And it was noticeable. He dropped. Tank Dell was hurt. And he's hurt. He's probably still hurt.
Diggs got hurt.
Bad
Line
offensive
sucked.
line. Like the excuses, they were there. And that's tough for a kid in his second year with a target on his back. I just don't believe that. And he didn't even finish top 10 in either passing yards or.
He was very mediocre in most statistics.
And when you're in the AFC, you can get by mediocrity winning the AFC South. And that probably still holds true this season as well. Even with the Jags and Travis Hunter and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably still picking the Houston Texans win this division. But they're just in the same boat to me, Houston, as all these other teams in the AFC, where once you get to the playoffs, they're just kind of stuck there in that fourth or fifth best team.
Can you beat the big four?
Like incapable of beating those guys. And the last 2 years we've seen that. I just don't know what's going to be different this year. Like why would they be able to beat them? Baltimore.
Well, I'll tell you what's different this year. What's different this year is they took a bunch of great receivers in the draft for CJ Stroud. I'm really excited to see what those kids out of Iowa State, Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, are going to be able to do. Higgins in particular, I think, already in minicamp, he's been CJ Stroud's most targeted receiver.
I've heard he's looked good.
I think some of that is that Nico Collins is already clearly established as the one and sort of doesn't need the reps. But for as much as people talked about how great the skill position players could be for Houston last year, between injuries to all three of their starters, and I think a worse performance from Stephon Diggs than most people, really everybody except Jack and I, thought what you would get.
Yes, that's true. You guys did agree on that.
Yeah, he's gone now.
It wasn't there, but they're infusing a lot of talent in that room. You're going to get some better coaching, hopefully, from the offense. I think a lot of the struggles were that the coaching just didn't respond to the offensive line last year being much worse than it was 2 years before. If they can get a mediocre offensive line, CJ Stroud has the best weapons of his career, and ascending Nico Collins, who I think will clearly be a top 5 wide receiver next year.
Maybe
some great rookies around him. Like this is the best. If the offensive line can be average, this is the best team CJ Stroud has had around him, and he's entering that pivotal year 3. I really expect more from them this year.
What I'd ask you, though, is when you look back on last year's team, Nico Collins is steady, right? Do you think are Christian Kirk and Jaden Higgins better in your eyes than Tank Dell and Stephon Diggs?
I think they're better than
I'd probably
8 games of Stephon Diggs and 10 games of Tank Dell.
Sure, yeah. But I'm saying to say the best weapons of his career, I thought last year coming in, we were like, this is the year. Like, this is the time.
Well, now they've got Nick Chubb, too.
Well,
Don't forget Nick
we can't
Chubb.
forget Chubb. Chubb just signed.
Chubb and Mixon, yeah.
You know, he's coming off, again, still like Chubb since that injury.
You got Mixon to take carries, too. Chubb just has to come in and play some good football. You've got Jalen Noel, John Mechie. I mean, he had a very terrible start to his career because of the sickness, but he's improving. And you also have to look, the defense just continues to get better, right? Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, those are guys who really took big steps forward last year. And now you'll get that mature version of them for the whole year. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think, will get a lot done for them.
Oh, no, they're really good.
I'm going to stick with it. I think this is the best team of CJ Stroud's career.
Okay, well, that's different than the best weapons. Like,
it could be the best team.
I would agree with you, given where the defense is, that this is the best team.
I think the weapons are close.
But no, they are close.
Clearly the best team.
They are close. And that's the whole point that I'm saying here is that this team is ready to go. And it really often comes down to that quarterback position. And we all agree on this. That takes you from good or very good to elite. And right now, you know, the Texans have throttled the Chargers in the first round. They throttled the Browns in the first round in Houston. Then they go on the road and they've lost 34-10 in Baltimore and 23-14 in Kansas City. And like those are two, when they played Baltimore, the best defense in football. Kansas City, very good defense on the road. Stroud was sacked 8 times. But the offense isn't showing up in those games. And a lot of those problems come up front on the offensive line. But CJ Stroud, you know, he's the guy. Like, he needs to take this team to that level where they can go. They might have to go on the road. In all likelihood, you will have to go on the road. And it would be great if they could get the 1 or the 2 seed. But to go through the AFC, like you said, Jack, if you said at this point in time, who are the contenders, the real Super Bowl contenders in the AFC? I say without a doubt, it's all the teams that the Big Four play for. The Ravens, the Bengals. I know people are a little iffy on the Bengals, but they were, Joe Burrow's playing the way he did last year. They're a contender.
They shouldn't be iffy.
The Chiefs and the Bills. And after that, to me, it's you're just seeing if the Chargers or the Texans take the jump. Sorry about you guys. I don't think you're in that.
Yeah, I don't know how we're being so slow.
I'm sorry. But to me, you will see one of those 6 teams in the Super Bowl next year.
We're better than the Texans are.
Right now?
Yeah.
Those are 2 very different teams, but the Texans are trending up and the Steelers are trending down.
Think the Texans
I know which one I'm going to pick.
I think the Texans have a
Aaron
better
Rodgers?
defense and a better offense. That's it.
We have a better quarterback.
Yeah, who's he going to throw to?
Probably not.
DK?
And
Who's the
Calvin Austin.
That's all I needed.
Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
That's all I needed.
I love that.
Who's Stroud throwing to? Nico Collins. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I like Christian Kirk more than any of your number 2s.
We have the Muth too.
I don't mind Muth. I like Dalton Schultz more than I like Farrington. The Texans are.
We're gonna get Lazard.
Now look, it can all fall apart with the bad offensive line. And again, Houston did make moves, but
and they just got a new running back.
We're talking about moves where
those don't matter.
Like they brought in Cam Robinson, and he was 3rd highest pressure rate allowed among left tackles with 500 plus blocking snaps.
And this is also
Laken Tomlinson, 6th highest pressure rate among left guards. That's like they're bringing in guys to fix the leaks that are going to need to step up because they were also leaky themselves.
This is somebody too who in CJ Stroud, who it's not like he is now in his 3rd year, like a Kenny Pickett type guy, waiting like, okay, like as this theory can improve. Like he has played in the NFL level at an elite level. We've seen it. Like he's shown that he can do it. Like he's capable of being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And if he can have a year like that rookie season with this current Texans team, that's what it would take to take that next step into the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, he was 23 touchdowns, 5 picks, and then he went to 20. He regressed to 20 and 12 last year.
I believe from there's a target on your back in that second year. Coming off a good rookie season, there's a big red X on your back second year. We saw that we saw that.
Like Jane Daniels is going to have to live up to it this year.
Yeah, he'll have that same thing.
And it's kind of funny too because the Commanders put all these resources into that team this season with going after Debo. They took Tunsil. They traded for him with the Texans. Like Washington is making a move right here. And we'll see. It's again, if Jane Daniels regresses, they lost by 30 in the NFC Championship game. Jane Daniels taking a step back is not they're not going to be relevant. So I think the Texans are a team where it feels like this is the time to take the jump. Last year felt like it, but now it's like, all right, if you don't do it now, I'm going to go into next season and I'm going to say they're just a very good team. Like this is the last year in my mind where Houston, and obviously it's not the last year. CJ Stroud's still pretty young, but at least for me going into the offseason, I still view them as a team that can take that leap. If Stroud disappoints, I'll probably continue to see them as just a very good team, not a real contender.
The AFC South too this year has an easy schedule.
I believe they
right.
Do.
Like
the Texans have that first place schedule, so they get the Bills, they get the Chiefs, they get the Ravens. That's the one thing. If you're going to have drawback on the Texans winning the division, you could say, well, that AFC first place schedule that guarantees you all these guys, these dudes that we're saying you can't beat, and I think they're 4-7 against teams over 500 out of their own division since D'Amico Ryans has taken over. And look, they were in a really dark place before Stroud and Ryans got there. So you take what they've had over the past 2 seasons. You would have signed up for that immediately if you were a Texans fan. But now is the time to let's compete with these guys. Let's play with the big dogs.
I mean, Stroud reminds me a bit of like the Jordan Love of the AFC.
100%. I think that's exactly what he is.
Yeah, they're in very similar situations this year, those two.
Yep. It's a surprise we pit with both fan bases.
Yeah, I guess it's a coincidence.
Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Houston next year. I'm glad CJ Stroud's seemingly healthy, and we'll just have to see what happens. But they're my pick. I'd be very surprised. I'm trying to think what teams like the Bills are going to win the AFC East. That's a lock. No offense, Zach. Sorry about that. The Texans are close to a lock to me. There's a world where it doesn't happen, but I'd be very surprised.
That's just not true. It's not the same.
It's not. No, it's not. And that's why I just said it's not the same. But they should win the division. The whole thing, though, again, it will come down to that schedule. Like, they are the best team for sure, but the Jaguars do have a lighter schedule.
For winning a division, you can't look to first versus second, third, fourth place schedule when they all play each other twice. All you really have to do to win your division, the NFL, is beat your divisional opponents.
I think they should go 5-1 in the division.
Then,
and if they do, the division's a lock.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I mean, last year, what they win it by last year? They were 10-7. They went 5-1 in the division.
Yeah,
I mean, it was close.
And they won it by what?
But they went 5-1 in the division. There was no way they were losing.
I mean, there was a world where what was the final stand? They were 10-7. The Colts were 8-9.
Yeah,
the Jaguars were 4-13.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? They lost a bunch of games out of the division. Still, they were 10-7. The Colts were 8-9, and the Texans had the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
like that's not close.
Fair enough.